Hi, I'm Cheeky, and one of my guilty pleasures is watching those like rating celebrity outfit type videos. Except I don't care anymore. And you know what? I don't even like watch movies or TV shows. I mainly just like watch YouTube videos and anime anymore. So like I'd rather talk about like what characters from anime are wearing because the outfits are always so goofy, so out there, and sometimes kind of like impossible. And like you couldn't even wear them anyway, but they still look really sick. And like I wanna spend my time looking at that instead. So I'm gonna rate the outfits to Kill la Kill. Okay, I just finished watching it recently, and now I want to talk about these outfits because I really like these outfits. I think they're cool. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do right here, right now. Okay, so just real quick, I'm just gonna like outline how we're gonna do the ratings. Okay, pretty much I'll just be focusing on like the major characters. Okay, and a few of them, a lot of them have like multiple different variants of outfits, and I'll cover those for the major characters. And then anybody else who's in the show but just wasn't like pertinent enough and not included in this episode, like sorry, I have to cut it off somewhere because like otherwise we'd be here like way too long. So if you're not familiar with Kill la Kill, so we got this transfer student. Okay, she's new in town. Her name is ryuko Matoi. On her way to Hinoji Academy, a very tough and hard hitting school that will discipline students by like chaining them up to the school entrance, but like butt ass naked, as punishment for trying to defy the school. Our transfer student though is not simply just here because she's new in town or something, right?
I'm new in town.
She's here on official business, okay? And because of how cutthroat the school is, she believes that this is a place where she's going to find the answers that she's looking for. So, meet our transfer student, Ryuko Matoi. All right, so here we've got Ryuko in one version of 3 outfits that I'll be covering here in this video. So when we first meet her, she's in her street clothes, which seems to be comprised of the uniform from her previous school, being a white collared shirt with a red necktie and a navy blue skirt. Very simple, standard school uniform. Cool. I will say that I do like the pop of red in her necktie and how it like kind of coincides with the red streak in her hair. And then she accessorizes with like a cool bomber style jacket, which I really like. Her jacket is like black in a sort of like cream color, which I like that it's an off-white. And then I like the striping going down her sleeves. I can't tell if that's supposed to be like a dragon emblem on her jacket, but it looks cool. I like the very subtle and simple design. She's got some cool street style sneakers. I like the strappiness and like puffiness to them, especially around the ankle. I don't know, just something about it. I also like the lightning bolt design on them, and also how they're like monochromatic versus, the soles or the tongue of the shoe being a different color, or the lightning bolt. And then she's got like a manic pixie dream girl suitcase. I think the stickers on it are fun, a nice little extra decoration to it. Overall, pretty basic, simplistic outfit. Not a whole lot to write home about, but she still does look pretty cool. I say C tier. So Ryuko starts her way, to her first day of school, enjoying a healthy and refreshing breakfast of a whole lemon, peel and all. Then suddenly she's pickpocketed by this little twerp, except joke's on him. He snatched her half-eaten lemon instead of her wallet. So Ryuko goes to confront him, and then he sicks his gang on her. She takes them all at once, no problem. So she turns back to little twerp, right? And they immediately surrender. And she's like, okay, yeah, you guys are like just little kids. Fine, I'll let it go. I'm gonna keep heading to school, okay? And then little bro's big sis ends up hearing the commotion. She gives him the trademark big sis beatdown. Lectures him like, hey, you can't steal things from people, okay? Like, get out of here. Like, go to school. And he's like, no, like institutionalized learning is for chumps, okay?
I ain't got time for institutionalized learning, you dumbass! I'm gonna be a baller! A baller!
And then she turns to Ryuko, starts apologizing for her little brother. And as she apologizes to Ryuko, she's interrupted by the school bell going off in the distance. And then she panics. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can't be late. Oh my gosh. And so she leaves. And then Ryuko's like, the people in this town are freaking weird. And then she like finishes making her way to school, right? And turns out her homeroom is the same homeroom as Big Sis's. So immediately, like, Big Sis gets super excited. She's like, oh my gosh, like, sit here, right next to me. And that's when Ryuko's friendship begins with Mako mankanshoku, the very best bestie that anyone could ask for. And you know what? Honestly, Mako is our true main character. Definitely the kind of bestie that anyone would kill to have. However, she is just kind of in like her basic school uniform, not even accessorized one stinking bit. She doesn't seem to have put 1 ounce of her personality into her outfit, which is fine. She's enough personality just within herself. You know what I mean? I do like, though, that instead of black loafers, hers are brown. I always appreciate a brown shoe with an outfit. I just feel like brown usually goes better than black. I really like the shade of blue that her school uniform is. Her bowl haircut, super adorable. There's just nothing else to say about this. And I'm sorry, Mako. This pains me dearly. D tier. So homeroom's let out, and Ryuko and Mako are just like strolling along school grounds, right? And Ryuko is asking Mako, like, "Hey, who's the top dog around here? Okay, like I'm looking for the top dog, because remember we said she's here on official business, right? So top dog is her business." And then Mako like grabs Ryuko and like starts forcing her to bow. And she's like, "Oh my God, we got to start bowing." A sea of students parts as the disciplinary committee chairman approaches. Ryuko comments how he seems like a big cheese, looking seemingly unimpressed. And Mako's like, "Well, yeah, like he's the disciplinary committee chairman and a 3-star." And that's where we learn that at this school, all of the students wear what's called goku uniforms. And what a goku uniform does basically is give its wearer like extra strength, extra strongness, okay? And they're differentiated by a star rating level. You've got no stars, 1 stars, 2 stars, and 3 stars, okay? Because they're infused with a thing called life fibers. And the more stars that a Goku uniform has, the more powerful that it is. And all of the Goku uniforms are divvied out by the student class president at her discretion. Then, from the distance, class president approaches, and we're introduced to Satsuki Kiryuin. We'll get to her outfit in a second, okay? Ryuko immediately closes the distance and approaches Satsuki, being the big cheese that Ryuko's looking for and all. Then out of her Manic Pixie little case that she's got, she pulls out half of a giant pair of scissors and points it at Satsuki and informs her that she's been looking for the other half of this blade. And she kind of notices how Satsuki seems to recognize it. So she lunges at Satsuki, but then is intercepted by the boxing club captain. He's like, you're not getting to Satsuki, okay? Like, you're gonna have to go through me first. So then Ryuko starts fighting him, but kind of puts on an awful display and kind of demonstrate that she's not quite strong enough to wield her scissor blade very efficiently or for very long. So she wears out pretty quickly and realizes that she's a little in over her head at the moment, so she retreats like a smart girl. After that display from Ryuko, Satsuki consults in her throne room with her Elite Four. So let's meet them. And we'll go ahead and start with a character that we would have already seen, being the disciplinary committee chairman, Ira Gamagori. And he looks very intimidating, as he should, being the disciplinary committee chairman. But anyways, I like how spiky he is. I really like his shoulder spikes. They just look really cool. And then he has extra studding, like going up his shoulder. I really like how the height is varied between the spikes and studding on his shoulders. Also, I hope that like there's a big enough gap. So like if he were to like bend his head or bend his neck, I hope he wouldn't accidentally like stab himself in the head. So his uniform is mostly white, which I do like that here. There isn't a single pop of color, but I think that's okay. I think this works. I like how the black star emblem on his chest kind of takes place of what could have been a pop of color, but instead is just pop of high contrast. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that it's the only spot of black on his outfit. I really like also how he has an additional 3-star emblem design on his collar. I like the gray piping kind of detail at the bottom of his torso, as well as around his collar. His gauntlets, frickin' cool. I like how the spikes on them aren't identical to the ones that we see on his shoulder plates and his shoes. I like how they're curved and a little bit shorter to add even more variability to what's going on here. I think the cutouts on the body of his gauntlet are a neat addition. I also like how his knuckles have like that flat studding on them as well. He just really looks like he means business, And then the last spiky points on his shoes, really cool. I hope he doesn't do a lot of tripping though. I imagine those would hurt to fall in, especially as they look very metallic, right? Very made out of metal, Which, speaking of wearing metal shoes, on the back of his shoe, on his heels, it kind of seems like the metal goes up kind of far, like kind of like half of a high top, whereas like the high top's part is only on the back of it, and it's also kind of at a sharp point. And my question is, how the hell do you bend your foot in that? You can like bend your foot that far backwards anyway, but you can to some degree. body. And in these shoes, I don't see how Iragamagori is walking very comfortably in these. You know what I mean? I don't know, just something about this doesn't make any sense to me. Have you ever tripped? For your sake, I hope not. Who am I kidding? Iragamagori tripping? Yeah, right. I also like how on the back of his heel, he's got like a little rocket booster looking thing. I don't know. He's just the back of his shoe is just interesting. The more I try to like think about his shoe design, the more confused I think I'm making myself. So we're just gonna move on. Yeah? Additionally, for his little 3-star emblem on his chest, I like how the center one is elongated and the tip of it touches the tip of his slit on the bottom of his shirt. I think that's a nice detail. And finally, he's got some earrings on. I like his little hoops. They suit him well. Just kind of appreciate how his outfit is very slim fitting to his body. It just gives him a little extra formality. It makes him a little more neat and crisp to really drive home that disciplinary factor, if that makes sense. I like how spiky he is. A tier. Our next member of the Elite Four, Hoka Inumata, the Finance and Strategic Planning Committee Chairman. We see a very similar uniform to that of Gamagori, just with different gadgets and different accessories. So the same comments that apply to Ira will also apply to Hoka, but I won't reiterate them though. So I hope you remembered what I said. So with his collar, it kind of like splits open when he talks, which I think is just pretty funny. But I like how the 3-star emblem on this collar is more off to the side. I also really like the fur detailing on it. Love a good fur collar. His utility belt pocket situation that he's got going on, pretty fun. I'm jealous of how many pockets he does have. Although I will say, I'm wearing a dress, right? It has freaking pockets. It's the best thing ever. Being a woman, I'm always super giddy when there are many pockets available to me. We get robbed way too often. I like how his pockets also carry on that spike detailing, with each having its own little singular spike. I think that's adorable and hilarious at the same time. It just looks a little funny. Just a little bit. And then being, a tech data kind of guy, he's got so much cabling to him. And I think it's really neat how it's been incorporated into his outfit. I like how he has some single wires going from his cuff to his like utility belt pocket thing situation. But then he's got more of a multi-wire cable situation going from his waist to the back of his neck. And I also really like how it has that extra little connector looking piece at the back of his neck to just really like solidify its cable look. However, the cable and connectors at the back of his knees, they're not really giving you a lot of leg mobility, are they, Hoka? I hope he never has to run in this uniform because I don't think he's getting very far. And then his shoes are normal, and he looks like he has full range of mobility for his ankle. A part of me likes that his shoes are also white, and another part of me is just kind of like, why are his shoes white as well? I do like the monochromatic look, but I feel like his shoes didn't need to continue in that direction. I like how his cuffs are black, and they have that gray piping detailing still to them. His glasses, pretty cool, very tech looking. And I really like his blue hair. I don't know, C tier. Our third and arguably cutest member of the Elite Four is Nonin Jakuzure, the non-athletic mini chairman. Oh, she's so stinking cute! I love her uniform so much. So she's the chairman of the non-athletic department, right? So she looks like a marching band person, and I love this for her. She looks so stinking cute. I like how her uniform is instead of a pale blue instead of the white that we've been seeing in the men so far. However, she has that like white ruffle layer underneath and some white pleats. I also like the bones that she's got on her chest. That banding there looks really cool. Her little tie is pretty cute. I like how it's white instead of like black or the pale blue that we see here, or even pink. I feel like it could have been pink. Her tie could have been pink, and I would have been happy too. I'm always happy when something's pink. But anyways, I digress. At her neck, kind of looks like a little bit of a bib, but I'll excuse it. She's got a cute little cape with a wing design on it. Adorable. Her boots, so stinking cute. I love the addition of the wing on them. I also like that the sleeves of her dress are kind of poofy. And I also like how she includes detached cuffs with her outfit. and how they have like a cute little like pink heart button detailing and then kind of a winged look to the ends of the cuffs. I think it complements the dress incredibly nicely. Her marching band hat, really awesome. I love the skull and the tuft of fur on the top, the extra wing details as well. And I especially love how pink is splashed into this hat design. She's got the 3-star emblems on the side of it as well. And I like how the visor of it is white instead of matching with the light blue of the body of the hat. And then her like little turkey baster, it's very adorable. Again, I love that it's pink. And I also like the like wrap vine cord, whatever you want to call it, that extra little like 3D detail going down the length of her turkey baster. I just like that extra texture to it. And then the white flag fur, whatever the that's supposed to be. It's cute. It's a very, very adorable little turkey baster. She just looks heckin' adorable. I would wear the shit out of this. S tier. And last of the Elite Four is Uzu Sanagayama, the athletic committee chairman. And Uzu's looking pretty cool. I like how with his uniform, he's got that duster jacket instead of regular length jacket. I like his tank top. I like how his tank top is a navy color to add a little bit of color finally to the more monochromatic look of these uniforms. His belt looks super intimidating. Wouldn't want him to try to give me a hug by any means. I also like how he wears like a dainty kind of necklace. I think that's nice detail. I like how the collar of his jacket is pretty tall. I like how he's got the extra spikes on the piping detail going around his collar. Again, we see some tall, spiky shoulder plates. Pretty fun. We see he's got some piping detailing on the end of his sleeve as well. That same detailing at the bottom of his duster jacket. And I like how it just looks exactly like his collar, basically, minus the star emblems. It ties together very nicely. So he's wearing white shoes, like Coco was, right? However, I feel like in this situation, it works a little bit better because he does have that gray detailing at the bottom of his duster. So it's like close to his feet that it kind of breaks up that monochromatic white. You know what I mean? Like just for me, it feels like it breaks it up a little bit. It's close enough to his feet that it counts as an extra color thrown in down there. For me, okay? I don't know if I'm explaining that well. But just say you agree, okay? I really like how his sheath is kind of a part of his jacket for his sword, you know? It's probably very impractical, but it looks cool. I don't know. All right, and not really part of the Elite Four. I feel like they come up in the series enough that they deserve an honorable mention. They're kind of lumped in with Satsuki's group a little bit, being the sewing club president, being a very necessary cog in Satsuki's wheelhouse, you know? So we'll include honorary mention of Shiro Iori. And I think he looks really cool, honestly. I really love how he's got just the full black, like long sleeve pants and shoes look, and then just the really, really long duster jacket in a contrasting shade over the top of it. I like how his black sleeves peek out underneath his rolled up sleeves of his jacket. See, he's a 2-star though, not a 3-star. So which you can tell right here, you know? And I like how there's a chain that connects the 2 points of the stars. And then his orange mask is, I think, a pretty fun addition. And I really love the pop of color that it brings to the outfit, finally. And then finally, his ponytail looks really nice. He looks like he has really pretty hair. And then he wears glasses, which is kind of hard to tell, but I actually do like that extra detail is there and kind of forces you to look even closer. There are just the small details of this outfit really tickle me. I like it. What can I say? A tier. We're met back with Ryuko at the rubble remains of her father's house. Then suddenly a trapdoor opens up from underneath of her, and she falls quite far into the basement. On her way down, she tries to catch herself, fumbles a bit though, cuts herself, gets herself a gash in the arm, and falls into a giant pile of clothing. So she, gets up, brushes off a little bit, tries to gather her bearings, figure out how she's gonna get out of here, right? And suddenly she hears a voice coming from underneath a pile of clothes, and outbursts a sentient uniform, demanding for more of her sweet blood, because some of her blood dripped on him. Ryuko's biggest concern seems to be why is a uniform talking, right? Then the uniform pins her and forces himself on her body. And that's how we meet senketsu. Now that we've met senketsu, we can rate how Ryuko looks wearing senketsu. Yeah. So first off, senketsu, badass name, meaning fresh blood, very fitting. And he very much looks like the person who created him. And since senketsu kind of looks like his creator, I think it's fun how the outfit includes kind of an eye design, right? And I really like how one of the eyes has an eye patch over it. The eye patch looks cool and has that little extra X design on it in like a lighter color. I just think that's a nice little extra detail. But overall, senketsu is like a navy blue color. I like the red striping detail on the collar of the top, as well as the red tie, still kind of coinciding with the red bow tie that we first met her in. I absolutely love the addition of suspenders with this outfit. I just really love how that looks together. I love a good suspender. Suspenders and harnesses are just like a couple of accessories that I think look awesome every time they're used. And then around what appears to be her belt, she's got like some extra whatever the fuck that is hanging off of it. But it's some nice extra detailing to this outfit though. Adds a little more intrigue. And then she's got her glove, which at this point in the story she doesn't quite have. But since it's depicted here in this picture, I really like it. I like how it's another pop of red to this outfit. And we'll get to its significance soon. And then she still wears like the same kind of shoes, which like cool. I think senketsu is a pretty cool uniform. I think senketsu gets a B tier. Back at Hinoji Academy, we find Mako at risk of becoming a fresh fried Mako tendi as an effort to kind of like bait Ryuko back to the school. And so swooping in fancy new getup comes Ryuko to save the day. Ryuko sheds the trench coat that she was wearing, and she is dressed in senketsu still, but he looks kind of he looks really different though. Like whoa. And that's because he's not just any Goku uniform, right? He's what's known as a kamui, which is the most powerful uniform that you could possibly have, and gets its strength from feeding from its wearer's blood. So anyways, let's rate kamui senketsu, yeah? So kamui senketsu is looking a little bit different, yeah. And I love the kamui versions so incredibly much. Okay, like yes, there's a lot of underboob. Yes, there's a lot of skin showing. I don't care. I love how this looks. I would absolutely wear it. I would feel so hot, probably, maybe. I don't know. Actually, I might feel self-conscious. But it just looks so cool and so good. So senketsu's eyes got a little bit bigger, look a little more wing-like, and I like how one of the eyes is still very much like, yeah. I like how the neck of her collar kind of goes all the way up now, and how she's got long sleeves and gloves. The square cuffs and shoulder detailing is pretty interesting. I like that. The red suspender detailing, super cool. And her mini skirt is so adorable. I love how her boots are now thigh highs. It looks really good. I just really like this outfit. I would wear it. I would, in the privacy of my home. Boots are super cool. I like how the heel of her boots are a red. These cowboys look so freaking cool. I really like them. We're gonna make a new tier, okay? These cowboys are surpass S tier, okay? This is super S. This is double S. This is yes. New tier unlocked. So anyways, Ryuko showing up in this sort of attire ends up really intriguing Satsuki, actually. So Satsuki's like, what the hell? Where'd you get that outfit from? And Ryuko's like, I got it from my daddy. Same with this blade, which you seem to recognize. It's half of what was left behind by my daddy's killer. Now give me answers to why he's dead. So Ryuko, having already fought the boxing captain, is already experiencing the significance of the blood that she has lost due to kamui senketsu. So she's feeling really weak, so she decides to flee again. And somewhere along the way, she passes out on the sidewalk, and little mugger twerp bro comes across her passed out body, and intrigued by a very scantily dressed lady, takes her home with him. So then Ryuko kind of like comes to in bed with Mako's dad on top of her. So she freaks out and then quickly realizes, where she actually is at. She's at the mankanshoku residence, okay? So she feels bad. She starts apologizing to creepy dad. And then we meet Mako's family. We're meeting the mankanshokus now. A very weird bunch. All right, so since we've already met the littlest mankanshok, Why don't we just start with him? And this is Madara. And yeah, he looks like a little twerp, doesn't he? I really like how his shirt seems too big for him. And he kind of like drapes it off of one shoulder and has it tied on the side. I just think that's really fun and quirky for him. And then he's got some shorts that appear to be like ripped, perhaps old jeans cut into shorts. His shoes are a nice pop of white. However, being the hoodlum on the streets that he is, I feel like white shoes don't really go with that. You know, I feel like if you're outside a lot, causing trouble, you're running around, your shoes are getting dirty. His shoes look perfectly crisp and clean somehow. Just food for thought, okay? I like how they go with this outfit, but it's just, would a little troublemaking twerp actually wear white shoes though? I don't know. But I think they look great with his outfit. And I also like how the sole of them is red. It's a nice little pop of color for no reason. And then he's got his glasses. He looks pretty cool. I really like his outfit. I gotta say, he looks pretty cool. I think this is a B tier appropriate outfit. Daddy Dearest is Barazo Mankanshoku, the backstreet alley doctor who's taken more lives than saved. You know, he's got his white collared shirt. Great, very standard. A beige jacket over the top of it. Great, cool. I like that it's beige, I suppose. Black tie, great. And then he's in his like boxers. I do like the color of his boxers, but like, come on, man, put some pants on. I don't know. And then his white slippers. He is just clearly dressed like a very professional back alley doctor. He looks the part. And then he's got some glasses, which I like the half rim style of them. Due to the sheer absence of pants, he has to go in D tier. I'm sorry. And then we've got Mama Mankanshoku, Tsukuyo, looking very, very pretty. She wears a pink dress with a white apron. I love the like frilly lace edging ruffle, whatever, on her apron. I think it's super adorable. And then she's got kind of a like tealish, aquamarine-ish jacket over the top. And I really love like a good pink and shade of blue combo. They just always usually look good together. And this is no exception. And then finally she wears some like white flats, which I appreciate how they match her apron. And yeah, I don't know, she looks pretty cute. C tier. And last but not least of the Mankanshoku family, we can't forget Guts, the little pug in a sweater. Are you kidding me? He's in a freaking hoodie. This is so cute. S tier. So Ryuko comes back to the academy, starts duking it out with the girls' tennis captain in Mako's place of her punishment for having missed tennis practice, even though she was being held against her will, about to be fried into a Mako tendi. But oh no, senketsu isn't activating. So then Ryuko just gets pelted instead by a bunch of tennis balls. So hard that she is ejected from the school ground walls into the aqueduct and is then saved from the waters by her homeroom teacher. So let's talk about his outfit now. Mr. Aikiro Mikazuki. So we already have seen Teach a couple of times already, but I feel like this is a good official introduction. So let's finally rate his outfit, shall we? It's very basic. So we see he's got a white collared shirt that's been standard across the board, some slim fit black pants, a black tie, and black shoes. What could anyone expect me to say about this? Realistically. Come on now. D tier. So then he takes Ryuko back to his place in order to recover. And when Ryuko comes to, he tells her he's going to teach her a thing or two about her body. Really, he tells her how senketsu works and informs her of the power of the kamui and tells her that the one who can master wearing it is the one with a chance to defeat Satsuki. So he has this new tool for her, gives her a Seki Teko to help her poke herself on command, like she's about to take a blood glucose test, except it pricks her wrist instead of her finger. So then Ryuko, now equipped with her new tool, heads back into the academy to duke it out for real with the tennis captain, but instead in a game of tennis. So they play a mean game of tennis, right? Ryuko kicks some ass. Then Satsuki is like, all right, bet. Let's see how strong your kamui actually is. And then she gets down off of her skyscraper pedestal and tries to test Ryuko's strength. Ryuko then realizes that Satsuki's quite strong and should stand down once again. As Ryuko recoups her strength, Satsuki decides to go get decked up in a kamui of her very own, because like it was made specifically for her to wear on her wedding day, I guess. And it's being kept like locked up in a facility. And all of the guards that are like posted keeping it secure are like, hey, maybe don't put it on. You might not be strong enough yet. It might just eat you whole. Because that's a risk I haven't mentioned yet. If a person is not strong enough to wear a kamui, it just basically eats them whole instead. And then Satsuki's all like, wow, how dare you try to tell me what to do? Do you know who you're talking to? So then she just marches right ahead and feeds Junketsu her blood. This kamui is called Junketsu, by the way. And it latches onto her body. And her guards start shouting out in concern, like, oh no, Lady Satsuki. And then she claps back, ask not the sparrow how the eagle soars, bitch. She didn't actually say the bitch part. Like, I went through the liberty and added that. But so now we're bowing to Satsuki, decked out with Junketsu. And finally, now that Satsuki is in Junketsu, we can rate her outfit. Just because like her previous outfit is pretty like, who gives a shit, right? We'll just rate her in this one. I love all the detailing that went into Junketsu. With the shoulder things have an official name, and that official name is escaping me now. I learned it with Project Eden's Garden with Eloise Tallner's. They're called like epiquettes, right? They're like pockets? Epiquettes. Her shoulder fringes are cool, okay? I love them. And how they have like that extra like chain rope detail on one shoulder looks nice. I like how Junketsu is mostly white and has some blue striping around the collar, around the cuff, and the necktie, and the eyeballs of it. I like how the one arm has that extra detailing, which, I mean, it's a necessary detail for the outfit to function, but it looks good. I like how it's been incorporated. I like that it's a different shade of blue, I suppose. The gold accent detailing around the body of her dress looks really cool. I like that the skirt portion of her dress is pleated. And these boots, I really love how they coordinate with the collar of Junketsu. I always love a thigh high. I like how the heel of her boot is blue as well. And then her sword. Even her sword looks really good with her outfit. And it matches her barrettes, which I will complain a little bit that her barrettes are silver and it's really, really close to some gold detailing on the body of her dress. I wish she would have went with gold barrettes or like no barrettes. I don't know. Like it doesn't clash a lot. I just hate mixing metals. I'm sorry. It doesn't look good. It's fine here in this scenario. It's so small. It's so subtle. I won't complain too much about it. I want to wear Junketsu. And with Kamui Junketsu version, I like this. This is so freaking cool. Are you kidding me? Okay. Putting aside that this is a high school girl dressed very scantily clad, I just absolutely love how the synchronized Kamui version looks. So we talked about how like Goku uniforms like have different power levels, right? Well, generally how the show kind of works in terms of like demonstrating the strength of an outfit also kind of coincides with how much clothing there actually is to the outfit. So like the stronger the outfit, the less clothes there is. I'm pretty sure, I think it has to do with like the life fibers and, you know, with the Kamuis especially, they drink a lot of blood. So like as they're synchronized, you know, the less clothing there is, the less surface area of the body that blood is being drank from. Anyways, I think yeah. So that's how this works. Anyways, I love how it looks. Like I don't even know where to begin. The eyes are now like these really tall, impressive shoulder plates. She's got horns now for somehow. Her tatas are still covered. Granted, she is showing a lot of cleavage, but no nippage. Okay, so it's appropriate. All right, because somehow it works that way.
I'm showing my boobs and no one has a problem, but the nipples are covered, so somehow that's okay.
I love like the strappy detailing of the body, the metal detailing under her boobs. Her sleeves look pretty cool and are very, very pointy now. I like the kind of like ruffles at her thighs. Her boots still look roughly the same apart from that ruffle up top. This is I'm at a loss for words because Kamui synchronized Junketsu. We got double S here, okay? That's what the synchronized Kamuis deserve, okay? Don't fucking argue with me. So the next day, with Satsuki decked out in her new uniform, she confronts Ryuko and is like, all right, time to fight for real now. Ryuko's like, bring it on. And then they start swinging their swords at each other. And Ryuko finally catches on to how her kanwai works. And finally, she is truly wearing senketsu. And senketsu is being truly worn by her. So they have a sick-ass powerful battle, yeah. And then Satsuki's like, you've got no ambition, no aspiration. I've got no use for someone like that. And then Ryuko's like, well, I'm going to crush each and every one of yours until you tell me the sitch with my dad's murder. Then Satsuki becomes intrigued and is like, all right, I accept your challenge. We're going to put this fight on hold. And instead, we're going to start fighting the clubs of this school and anyone else who decides to challenge you. And if you can defeat everyone, then we'll resume this battle. So now the school's just going to be a war zone for a while. While the local TV shop streams it to the street. Now, fast forward a bit to episode 5. We meet a new character who's heard some things through the grapevine and has come with an agenda of his own to destroy senketsu before he gets too powerful and becomes a problem. So he comes barging in, confronting Ryuko and telling her to strip. And this mysterious mercenary-looking guy is Tsumugu Kinagase, looking very mercenary-like, yeah. So starting off, I like how he's pretty much just entirely in black, broken apart only by his gadgets around his shoulders and his red mohawk, which I really like how the top part of his jumpsuit has kind of like, it has a seam that doesn't exactly go just down the middle, right? And how it's got a little more geometry to it, right? I like the inclusion of strapping at his chest. I like how he's got a higher collar as well. His shoulder pad is a nice extra touch to this outfit. I like also how on one hand he's wearing a glove with like a thick fat cuff, and the other hand is just like a little sleeve going, you know, on just part of his arm. I like how the strap across his chest and the strap at his belt adds a little bit of dimension to the outfit. Same with his bulky pockets and all of the strapping on his pant leg, which I like how one pant leg has a strapped pocket to it. His boots are pretty neat. I like all the strapping detail on that as well. I like the extra studding on his like shoulder brace pad. And I honestly really like how he's got the extra detail of the nose strip just as a permanent part of his outfit, kind of. I just think that's a nice detail to have included. It's a pretty basic outfit, but done and really well with all of the detailing to it, especially with how much dimension and texture the detailing adds to the outfit. I really like it. A tier. Eventually, Satsuki gets in trouble with Mommy Dearest for getting into her wedding dress well before her wedding day. So let's meet Mommy Dearest, shall we? This is Ragyo Kiryuin. And for Miss Ragyo Kiryuin, she looks absolutely magnificent. I mean, she's literally emitting light from herself, from her essence, just from how magnificent she's dressed. You know what I mean? Her dress is absolutely beautiful. I love the plunging neckline and the belt detailing. Her waist necklace, her waistless, whatever's hanging from her waist, I like it. I like that it's there. Adds a little more intrigue to this dress. I really like the mermaid cut of it and how it kind of like poofs out the bottom. It has those like ruffles, details. What would you call that? I don't know. The extra flair detailing at the bottom of her dress is great. And then she's got like a boa, a shawl, off the shoulder jacket, whatever this is. I like it. I like the texture that it brings to the outfit, and the added little like shebang. And then her hair is rainbow, like not just dyed rainbow, is a rainbow. That's awesome. She looks pretty cool. A tier. So Ryuko carries on daily, fighting different clubs until eventually her opponents are that of the Elite Four, and we meet each one's regalia outfit. So let's rate the regalias that they've got, because they're pretty friggin' cool. So for Gamagori, he's a little bit of a kinky freak, I guess. So he first starts out with shackle regalia, where he's just like, he likes to be hit. The more he's hit in shackle regalia form, the more powerful he becomes, and it really gets him going. He likes to be whipped in this outfit. And I think it's funny how, like, with him being tied up and bandaged fully, right, and the ball gag kind of looking accessory over his mouth just makes this outfit look very BDSM-like. And I think that's kind of funny. But I like how his spikes are no longer silver and they're orange now. I like the strappy detailing of this extra like harness that he's got going on the outside. His ball gag I've already mentioned, right? I like that it's orange and yellow. Not a lot really to say about this outfit, right? He's got some elf shoes. And again, you know, he's not really moving very far, right? Which I guess he doesn't really want to because he wants to be hit in this form. But I mean, you know, just to comment though, this outfit doesn't really give him a lot of mobility. Not that he's probably looking for that in this form anyway. I don't know, Shaco Regalia is cool. He's just bandaged. He looks like a mummy. He looks like a BDSM mummy. I don't know, C tier. And then following the Shaco Regalia form, we see Scourge Regalia. And this looks far cooler. Oh my gosh. They're just spiky everywhere. I feel like my eyes are immediately drawn to the big ass ring that he's got on his back. I don't understand why that's there in a part of the outfit, but I guess it's fine. It makes it look interesting, I suppose, but like it seems very unnecessary. More just kind of like a heavy, awkward weight to have to like fight with, you know what I mean? But I like that it's spiky and how the spikes also are on the inside of the ring a little bit. You still see some of that bandage detailing on his like undermost layer and around some of the spiking around his little back ring thing. He still has that ball gag in his mouth. I like how his 3-star emblem design on this regalia is more of like a yellow instead of an orange. I like the extra depth that extra color brings to this outfit. His shoulder plates are cool, and along with like the other shoulder plates. What do you call those? I don't know. I like the paneling detail along the torso part of this outfit. I feel weird calling this an outfit, but it technically is an outfit. But like his gauntlets are back and bigger and broodier than ever. I like how they have more spikes on them than the original gauntlets. And then on his leg armor plates, I like how there's the extra spike detailing on his hips. And then I like the contrast of the orange kneecaps. And then his pointy elf feet. They look nice. It's kind of, you know, I think it's funny how like the point at his toes are kind of an additional spike to the outfit. So you can really just like kick and then that would hurt. Just be sure not to kick in the groin or butt area. That might go up somewhere. Anyways, I like how at the heel of these shoes, they're lower this time, right? And they still have some spikes on them. Overall, with this outfit, I really love all of the orange detailing and highlights. I think the placement and dispersion of them just looks great. Honestly, just is fun. He's even got like the tiniest bit of red on his back, which is cool. I like that there are a couple extra colors, just like ever so slightly, but still, it adds more depth to the outfit. S tier, come on. And then with Probe Regalia, he's very decked out in some keyboards now. I like how Probe Regalia is just like a full bodysuit. And I like the way that the color has been broken up with the grayish torso, the dark navy blue arms and legs, and then the 3-star emblem on this outfit is like a nice bright blue. Again, all of the cabling design looks really cool. And just around his arms and legs and shoulders and rib cage, I like the cabling detail there. I really like those placements. His triple visor is pretty neat, pretty quirky, pretty unusual. Anyway, I like how at his hips and his ears kind of looks like what would be perhaps a fan to help cool down his circuitry, right? And just the keyboards on his thighs, his biceps, and the back of his hands. I think that's a really fun addition. I like how at his shins, he's got what appear to be extra ports for his little cable situation that he's got going on wrapping around his legs. I think those extra ports add some nice depth to the outfit. Yeah, this is pretty fun regalia, I must say. B tier. And now we've got Symphony Regalia. And just like her base outfit, this one is also one of my favorites. Because this looks so freaking cool. I love the skeletal bodysuit design. It looks so cool. And I like how the skull from her marching band hat kind of moved over to one of her shoulders. I like that it's still a part of the outfit. Except the skull has sunglasses now. Kind of fun. She still has her cuffs. Cool. Her hat, the shape of it is a little bit weird for me, but it's cool. I like it. It goes with the outfit. I like that it's now red instead of her like pale blue kind of color. Her extra little like bony insect legs are so freaking cool. I like how at her hips she's got those like extra bone plates going on, and how she's got like some kind of skeletal fingers coming out of her heels. And speaking of her heels, I like how it's bone shaped. It's fun. It's really fun. This outfit is so fun. So like at the joints of her little bony insect legs, it kind of looks like a skull face design, and that's pretty cool too. Yeah, absolutely no complaints about this outfit. S tier. And then last of the regalias, we have Blade Regalia. Just immediately, he looks like a big robotic bug, especially with like his little bug fingers. It looks funny to me. I don't know why they look like that, but it's funny. I like how the pretty much entirety of this regalia is different shades of green. I love when an outfit utilizes the same color, but in different shades. It's one of my favorite things. And then he's got some accents of like a yellowish golden rod kind of color. I like how his 3-star emblems are on one singular shoulder plate, but then also on each shoulder as well. I really love all the different paneling to this regalia. I love all of like the vent areas on his chest as well. It kind of makes it look like a bug face. Do you see it? Do you see it, or am I crazy? I like how he's like on little tippy toes. That's pretty cute. Overall, this regalia is pretty cool. He's very big and bulky, very bug-like looking. He still has the spikes at his belt area. I like the nods to each base outfit being included in like the regalias and stuff. Yeah. I also think it looks really good, all of the places that have been outlined in the light green color. I think it really helps add a lot of shape to this outfit. I don't know, he kind of looks like a crab. And for this crab insect, I think A tier. And as Ryuko battles Nonin, broadcast catches the attention of a new little cutie. So round 4 begins, and is quickly interrupted by this little sweetie. Falling from the sky, Mary Poppins style. Suddenly, Lady Satsuki starts freaking out and telling Uzu to get out of there, being quite familiar with this little cutie pie's shenanigans. Uzu starts yelling at her to get the f*** out of the way before he crushes her, and she's like, nah, I'm gonna take over the battle from here. So now we're battling this little cutie, and not even in a Goku uniform, because she's just that strong and powerful. And this little cutie is Nui Harime, who happens to fight us with a very interesting weapon. And then last, but very not least, we meet our psycho cutie. Can you tell already that I kind of like this outfit? She just looks so cute. There's just something about being an absolute cutie and an absolute psychopath that really tickles my brain. It's one of my favorite things. So starting off with her dress, so cute. I love that her entire outfit is basically pink, right? And it's one of my favorite shades of pink. I like how the skirt body of her dress is a triple layer, and how each layer gets gradually lighter until it's eventually white. I like the extra X's on her side, which now that I'm looking at them, is that supposed to be like 2-star? She's wearing a Goku uniform. This is just like a regular dress, so it's probably just like lacing or something. I don't know, but it's cute. I like that extra little detail on the dress body. It gives it some more depth. Her little bow at the top of her dress and the bunny ears are super cute. I love that her choker is like heart shaped. She has an eye patch in the shape of her name. Pretty interesting. Her heart earrings are very adorable. Her big bow. It's pretty cute. I like her cuffs, wrist, fingerless gloves, cuffs, whatever those are, and how they have that extra frill on the edges of them. The bow on the back of her dress. It's really cute. By the way, I just conveniently was gifted this dress over the weekend, and it just happened to conveniently work out with dressing up for this video. It couldn't have worked out better, honestly. Like, I was already trying to dress like Nui for like the outfit rating part, and I just had nothing in my wardrobe, and then suddenly just this fell in my lap, and like, the stars aligned beautifully for me. Anyways, her boots absolutely adorable. I love how the bow detailing kind of just follows the length of the boots and how it has that frilly detailing on the top. Her hair, so stinking cute. I don't look good in pigtails, so I just did like half up pigtails. It's irrelevant, but just, you know, since my outfit is clearly inspired by her, right? I just thought I'd give that explanation as to why I don't have pigtails on right now. But anyways, this is just absolutely one of my favorite outfits because it just really satisfies that very girly part that I cannot keep buried inside of me. Nor should I really want to, honestly. I don't know. Anyways, I just happened to notice this just this second. The highlights on her hair are heart-shaped as well, and that she's just stinking cute. Even if she is fucking insane, okay? He also gets double S here because I fucking said so, okay? And that concludes my ratings for this video. I hope I satisfied you with all of the outfits that I chose to rate in this video. If you are upset over any characters that I left out, let me know in the comments below, and perhaps I'll just give like a quick feedback rating in a comment or something, because like I said, there are so many freaking outfits and different versions of each outfit in Kill la Kill. This video is already gonna be like so long. No. But for now, that concludes it for this video. On to the outro, filmed by the other cheeky. And that concludes all of the outfit ratings that I will be doing for this video. Does Ryuko end up solving the mystery of her dad's killer and getting closure with that? Who wins the battle between Ryuko and Nui? Does Ryuko end up getting to fight Satsuki? And what all happens next? Well, you'll just have to watch to find out, or read the manga, I guess, if you can even get your hands on it. There's always a wiki too, if you don't actually want to like spend your time watching it or reading it. That's fine. But anyways, that's it for me in my outfit ratings. Like this video if you would like to see me rate more outfits from different series, and leave any suggestions below of some of your favorite series that have some outfits that you like, and I'll let you know if I agree with your taste. And then finally subscribe so that you don't miss out. And I hope to see you in the next one. Okay, bye!